more talent to know how to make people laugh than to make people cry with a drama.
Absolutely.
So that was insane.
Yeah. So this was a difficult time for Mary. It was kind of bittersweet. She had such a great, so much appreciation, so much respect, and such tragedy all tied together.
Absolutely.
And apparently, well, I don't know what else to say about the death of her son, but I think probably, I think it was very meaningful for the audience, for the nation, for the world, to take a look at ourselves about how we are as parents, how we're making our choices. Because Mary, she had charisma on and off screen, and I think a lot of people would look up to her and recognize when she's playing this role that Robert Redford gave her, where she was not such a nice person. People can see that in themselves, because we all know ourselves, and we recognize where there's room for improvement. And we can start, as Mary leads the way, by being so honest, saying, I'm not a good mother. It gives us permission to be honest with ourselves. So I think that even if this was a dark time for her, I think it had a lot of positive impact, hopefully, for people watching.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I love everything you're saying. Because here's the thing. We're all broken people. We all have flaws. We all have happy, bright, and dark sides. Okay? We all do. So what I really want people to come away from this book, after reading this book, is that Mary, just because she was an alcoholic, or just because she wasn't nice all the time, like Mary Richards, a half hour, on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, which is not reality, just because she wasn't Mary Richards in real life does not mean she was not a good person. She was a complicated person. You can't be an evil person and give millions and millions of dollars and work to give millions and millions of dollars to the Diabetes Foundation. You can't be an evil person and do something that Mary did for animals. I mean, she's helped constantly was an advocate for animals. You're not an evil person when you do those things. But she was not always a nice person, just like I'm not always a nice person. I have my moments where I don't want to talk to anybody, or I'm having, or I just had a bad hair day, or whatever. We're all human beings, but I'm a good person. And Mary was a good person. I wake up every day and I say, how can I make this day good? What can I do to make the world a better place? How can I go say I'm sorry to somebody that maybe I hurt their feelings, or we had a falling out? How can what can I do to make people smile? I mean, that's human. When you got to look at yourself honestly. And Mary did that. Mary looked at herself honestly. And Mary woke up every day and said, what animals can I save today? Who do I have to call the Diabetes Foundation to donate more money? How can what charity ball can I attend that will bring money to the Diabetes Foundation or to the rescue of animals? I mean, that was her life. So she didn't always have time to be nice because she was saving the world,
I love it. That's so true. And I just love this idea that we are all broken people. We all have flaws. I'm just going to underline what you said there. That's beautiful. And I think this goes back to the great spiritual teachers of our planet, just reminding us that even though that's the case, as you say, Mary Tyler Moore, she could be a good person, even though she's complicated.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. And I think that has a lot to do with the way that you've chosen the shows that you've chosen to take a look at, with your books, with the television documentaries and so forth that you've worked on, having to do with, for example, I love Bewitched. The Bob Newhart show was awesome. And then you also looked at Kung Fu. Is there something that these shows have in common? Let's go back full circle to this classic TV, and then specifically the programs that you're choosing to take a look at. What is it that you find most appealing about these shows that you've brought so much light to?
Well, that is an excellent question, and thank you for asking that. There is a common thread with at least the TV shows that I did companion books to. Bewitched, Kung Fu, The $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman, and Life Goes On. I did the book on Life Goes On, which was about the TV show about Corky, who had Down syndrome, played by the amazing Chris Burke in the 90s on ABC. Each of those shows are about prejudice. Samantha was a witch in a mortal world. Kane was an Asian in a Western world. Steve and Jamie on the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman were, half man, half woman, half machine, and they felt isolated, and they felt like that they were not fully human, and they felt prejudiced against. Corky certainly with Down syndrome, and later on when the amazing Chad Lowe came and played the character of Jesse on Life Goes On, where he was diagnosed with AIDS. There's all kinds of connotation of prejudice connected with that. So there was a common thread, that all of these shows were about prejudice, and I wanted to carry through on each of those things, and then exploring two of the actresses that had to do with two of the television shows that were my favorites of all time, Dick Van Dyke Show and Bewitched. There were also messages in those shows beyond prejudice. On Bewitched, it was about strong work ethic. It was about priorities. It was about Samantha giving up, anything she could want because she loved this guy. It was about Darren wanting to go to work and buy things for his wife and family and not have her twitch up things. On the Dick Van Dyke Show, it was Laura. Laura, Mary Tyler Moore's character, was a very independent woman. She ran that house, and she didn't put up with any junk from Rob Petrie. She was his equal. Just because she stayed home and he worked in an office didn't mean they weren't equals. They were equals. They were elegant equals. And then Mary just carried that forward with the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and she took it one step further as becoming the most influential single woman on television, just like Laura Petrie was the most celebrated housewife on television. And then, Kung Fu, man, while President Nixon was holding historic conversations with Chairman Mao, of China, Kane, David Carradine as Kane was introducing the American mainstream to New Age thought and Asian culture on a weekly basis. How cool is that?
Super cool. I love it. I love it. And, I do martial arts, and I'm sure that was influenced, as everything else is, by TV. Because how else would you know such things are possible? So TV really does have a huge impact. And I'm just so grateful that you're doing what you're doing, that you're bringing the spotlight back to these extremely valuable shows, these ideas, again, to spotlight how we deal with prejudice when people are different. And, the truth is, each one of us is a little bit different. We're a bit unique when we're honest about it, sometimes very different. And we need to get back to core values of love, even maybe especially in challenging times. So now I'd love to have you...
And honesty. Honesty is, I think, the best policy, as they say. You got to be honest with yourself, and I can't say it enough. I admired and respected Mary so much. She was as honest as she could be about herself, and she held a few things back, and I explored some of those things that she held back in my book about her. But she was as honest as she could be, and that's all you can ask from anybody. And we all got to cut each other some slack. Because, those without sin throw the first stone. And, and that's all there's to it. Yeah. We're all flawed.
So let's get the information again about how people can stay in touch with you, your website especially, and anything else you'd like to say.
Yes, HerbieJPilato.com. You could find out all about my work, my books, my TV shows, my documentaries, the Classic TV Preservation Society, or if you want to go right to classictvpreserve.org for the nonprofit website directly. If you want to order my books, you can do so on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. Mary is not yet listed on Barnes & Noble, but if you want to walk into a Barnes & Noble wherever you live, you can order it in person. Or if you want to just order directly from me via my email, just contact me at hjpilato@yahoo.com and tell me what book you want to order, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. I can't thank you enough for everything you're doing in the world. You've become one of my heroes, and I'm just really grateful that I know you and I've had this chance to talk with you today. And oh my gosh, thank you so much for everything you're doing. I believe that our movies and our stories are the way that we can change the world. Again, this is a quantum concept. Gets into my favorite saying, how good can it get? I think we can get a glimpse of that when we look into entertainment. So thank you so much for everything.
Well, Cynthia, aren't you like the sweetest person on the planet? You know, and what you're saying and what you're doing, I mean, here I'm talking with this amazing scientific person, and you're talking about love. And I think that is you're like the best of both worlds. And if all of us could have that balance of love and science and understand that one is no good without the other, we'll be on our way. And so thank you for all that you're doing and being so open as a scientist and with such an analytical mind, being so open to the understanding of creativity and love. Because more times than not, many of the times that when scientists or those who have your genius type thinking, many times the only time they understand love is when they have a near-death experience, and then they go back, they see the other side, and like, oh, God, there is a God, or oh, there is love.
Yeah.
So instead of all you great scientists out there who don't yet see love, please don't wait until you have a near-death experience.
Yeah. It's never too late to experience love. So thank you so much, and let's just keep asking together, how good can it get?
Thank you for listening to this edition of Living the Quantum Dream with your host, Cynthia Sue Larson of RealityShifters.com. Join Cynthia next time in visualizing and accessing whole new worlds of possibility on Evolutionary Voices for the Quantum Age, heard Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern on the Dream Vision 7 Radio Network.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.